Alright, so we are doing both sections F and G. F is called modulus, or absolute value, and G is product expansion. You guys should be pretty familiar with both of these topics, even if it sounds a little weird. One thing we'll notice in this textbook is that because it is IB, sometimes they use different words or different spellings to mean the same thing that we already know. So you might hear the absolute value is called modulus, or we can call it absolute value. And then product expansion, I'll wait till we get to that part, but it's going to be really familiar to you once we get there. Don't worry, I'll come back to the title, but don't forget your little stat box. We're going to start with that absolute value stuff first. So remember that absolute value is the distance from 0. So it's always positive. So if I were to just draw a little number line here, there's 0. We know that, I'm just going to write these off to the side here. We know the absolute value of 2 is just 2 because I'm 2 units from 0. We're all good with that, right? But we have to keep in mind that the absolute value of negative 2 is just 2, always positive like I said, because it's 2 units from 0. So that absolute value with those bars there always has to equal a positive. So when you have these absolute value bars, that always has to equal a positive. And you will have some, like, substitution and evaluation type problems on your assignment. We're not going to go over any of those because I feel like you guys should know how to do that. If you're getting stuck, make sure you ask me. But we are going to go over solving it. So remember, when you solve it, you have to solve for both cases, because if it equals 2, that means that inside could equal, inside, will you come back? There you go. Inside will equal positive 2, or the inside could equal negative 2. So we'll take a look at both cases, and we'll do a few examples of that. And we're going to start with, like, the very, very basics. So we'll warm you up here. If the absolute value of x equals 13, that means that we've got two options for x. X could be 13, or x could be negative 13. So that's a really basic one because all I have is an x in here. But then we kind of kick it up a notch on this next one. So it kind of works the same way that what's inside the absolute value could be equal to positive 26. Or what's inside could equal negative 26. Notice that I took my absolute value bars off. They're not on there anymore. But what's in here could be positive, or what's in here could be negative, so I have to solve for both cases. I'm going to let you guys finish this off. So keep solving. You're going to come up with two different answers. One will be cute, one not so cute. What do you guys get when it equals positive 26? 6. Do you need me to go over that? Alright, what do you guys get when it equals negative 26? I can tell you what I got. I got negative 34 over 3. Did you guys get the same thing? Is that what everyone has written on their paper? Because I know that that's not true. What do you have written on your paper if you got something different? What do you got, Michael? Because it's correct. What you have is correct. Yeah. So keep in mind, I know that a lot of people feel better with decimals, so if you've got the decimal, that's fine. I am like 90% sure the IB is going to give you that fraction answer, so just make sure that you know how to use your calculator to check your answer to make sure that that is the same. Are there any questions about any of this, even though I didn't do all the steps, but we did solving equations Friday? Okay. Alright, the absolute value of 5x plus 4 equals negative 3. See what you guys can do with this one. Did anyone figure it out yet? Did anyone catch that it's a trick question? That it's no solution? A couple people? I saw some slight nods there. Remember that your absolute value itself has to be positive, so this one is no solution. Now, we had the negative and the positive parts after we took those bars off. Once those bars are off, what's on the inside can be positive, what's on the inside can be negative, but the absolute value itself cannot equal a negative. It's a distance. You can't have a negative distance. Even if I walk backwards, it's still the same amount of feet, right? So I wanted to see if you guys would catch that. Any absolute value questions? Because we're going to move to product expansion next. So product expansion is really just FOIL. You guys remember FOIL? First out or inner last? So these are the expansion rules. The first one up here is indeed FOIL, if you guys like to use FOIL. So when I multiply those, A times C is AC, my outer is AD, inner is BC, and my last is CD. We know that on other types of problems, we would check to see if we combine like terms. We always want to simplify if we can. That's your expansion rule. Now you can FOIL on all of these. The next two that I have are just like shortcuts that it is helpful to know, and it kind of helps you with some other stuff if you know those shortcuts, but you're not really required to use them. So the shortcut, if you have almost the exact same parentheses but different signs, so A plus B and A minus B, that middle term cancels out, so I end up with A squared minus B squared as a little shortcut. If you don't like the shortcut, and if you FOIL it, you will still get the same answer. And then we also have a shortcut here when we have our binomials squared. So the shortcut is that our first part and our last part is just going to be the first term squared and the last term squared. But when we fill in the middle, it's actually the product of your first term and your last term times 2, so 2ab. And we're going to go over some examples so you can see that shortcut in action. If you forget that shortcut and if you FOIL, you will get the right answer. But it is helpful to know that. The last thing I put is just to never forget PEMDAS, and that goes for everything, even the absolute value stuff, even the stuff we've been working on. Never forget those order of operations. Any questions before we refresh our memory and FOIL a few things? Alright, see what you guys got. Try these two. Combine those like terms. Okay, it looks like most of you are about done, not almost done. Doesn't really matter which order you do these in as long as you do all 4 multiplications. Just keep in mind when you do 2x times x, it's going to be squared, 2x squared. Then 2x times 3 will just be 6x, 2 times 3 is 6. Then I've got 1x plus 1. Now, these are the only two that have like terms, so I'll have 2x squared plus 7x plus 1. But not 1. What mistake did I make? 3. 1 times 3 is indeed 3, not 1. Alright. Questions on that part? Alright, so then when we go ahead and do this one, we've got 3x squared plus 9x minus 2x minus 6. Keeping careful with those signs, 9x minus 2x, we've got 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. Any questions? Does anyone remember what like the opposite of FOILing is? Like what it's called when we start with something like this and then we end up with something like that? Factoring? We're going to do that tomorrow, so be ready for factoring. It's a really important skill. And alright, these last two are just going to be like if we can try that shortcut. So I'm going to walk you through this one. So if we try that shortcut, we've got to square this first part. So 3x squared is 9x squared. I'm going to have to square the last part. I like to kind of split it up and do that middle part actually last. Negative 1 squared is a positive 1. Then to get my middle term, I multiply these two. And usually I do this in my head, but I'm going to write it down so you guys can see what's going on. when I multiply these two, 3x times negative 1, I get negative 3x. So 3x times negative 1 is negative 3x. And then I multiply that times 2. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6x. So generally that green part, if you're using that shortcut, you would do in your head. And again, you don't absolutely have to use the shortcut. It's just nice, and it really does help, especially with factoring. If you use the shortcut when you multiply, it kind of helps you work backwards. So with this one, we end up with x squared. And then we multiply those, that's going to be 2x. 2x times 2 is 4, so we have plus 4x for that middle term. So try those out. You've got a few of them. Try them out with that shortcut. Remember those order of operations. Any questions on the shortcut ones? You guys know what to do if you don't like the shortcut, to just write it out in FOIL? Okay. No, I've got a really lame stat box again. I don't know, does anyone have any tips that they could share that kind of helps them with any of this stuff? If you do, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, write a tip for yourself. And we've got a worksheet again today.